The world is absolutely brimming with opportunity in 2025, and every single city has a different economy, whether it's faster or slower or has different opportunities. And I'm sure you've heard this advice. I've heard it a billion times, but I never really followed it until a few weeks ago. I always knew that it was something that would be very important, but I never just went out and experienced it. First things first, thanks for clicking on this video. Today, I'm gonna be covering the 3 most important tips that I learned to make money in a new city. The first one being how to adapt, the second one being having balls, and the third one being that relationships matter. But before that, you're probably like, why the heck should I listen to this guy? I totally get you. So yeah, my name is Nathan Yu. I'm an 18-year-old entrepreneur that founded a 6-figure marketing agency. And yeah, SMMA isn't a dead niche, by the way, which is something I'll talk about in a future video. But yeah, a few weeks back, I went on to my first international trip to London, which I'm from Canada. And so yeah, pretty big trip. And I'll be sharing my tips and talking a little bit more about the trip as we go. So let's talk about the very first point, which is about adapting. Obviously, as you know, adapting is very, very important in business, in life, in everything. And without it, you're gonna be stagnant. You're not gonna be able to find new opportunities, etc., etc. In fact, in my first week in London, I didn't do any adapting, and I actually just got depressed in my first week, which is something I'll talk about a little bit more later. But yeah, I got depressed because I basically wasn't on track at all to hit my goals that I set for myself. And I realized that, yeah, I'm just in London, this super expensive city, and I'm just losing money. So let me explain this a little bit. So there's a few things it comes to when it comes to adapting. Obviously, we know it's very important. How do you do it? Number one, you gotta drop your ego. You're gonna come into this new city. You're gonna go to New York. You're gonna go to LA, Vancouver, London, Paris, whatever, and you're gonna have this very strong perception, right? You're gonna go into London like, oh, these people all have crooked teeth and whatever, and their ads need to be like this, whatever. Sorry, bad examples, but your perceptions are probably gonna be wrong. For example, a lot of people have great teeth in London. And I came into London having this perception that ads need to be super flashy and whatnot. And I was wrong. And the way I made those adaptations is that I tracked my data and my KPIs, which is basically my analytics. So like I said, I run a marketing agency. And so I was going to London trying to look for clients to help them with social media, help them with ads, whatever that might be. And so the way I attracted these clients was a few days, I think literally 2 days before I left, I put up my own ads, basically calling out London business owners to fill out a lead form and contact me. And like I said, in my first week, I got pretty depressed because in week 1, I didn't adapt. I signed 0 deals. I made no money. And at that point, I was just in London losing money. But what I did was on my ads, I tracked a lot of data and key performance indicators on a spreadsheet. And I looked at this data and I had to drop my ego. I was like, I thought this ad is gonna work. I'm gonna keep pumping ad spend into it. But after that first week, I realized that it's not working. I got humbled a little bit. So I made some changes based on my spreadsheets, based on the raw data. And what worked, and what didn't work. So I ended up dropping those ads that didn't work. And the impact was that after making those adjustments after my first week, I actually ended the trip on around $7,000 in total of revenue, which means that my whole trip was fully covered, my flights, my Airbnb, all of my food, and I even ended up making profit as a business. So like I said, you gotta drop that ego. And like I said, I thought that London would be a lot more flashy. All of the ads are so much better in London compared to the city Calgary, where I'm from, which media is not a super important thing. And so, I came in there ready to go full ham on the flashiest, fastest ads, but turns out people just craved authentic ads. And so my chill, authentic ads were the ones that did the best. And those adjustments that I made actually helped me hit the lowest cost per lead I've ever hit in my life, which I had less than $5 cost per lead, Canadian dollars. So that's like $3 American, which is the cheapest I've ever had across all of my clients and myself. And that ended up resulting in less than $50 cost per seriously qualified lead. So basically I was booking in very, very high quality calls for less than $50. One other thing is that this takes serious balls to do. You can't just, waltz into a random city with no confidence, and you're just like, it's gonna work, which honestly, you kind of have to do, but you have to have that confidence, which leads me, right into that second point of you need balls. So you can do all the research about a new city, but you're not really going to get anywhere. If you're not confident to go to New York with your business or whatever, then so be it. But just remember that you're losing money and experience to some other guy. Some other guy is confident, and he's also from a small city, and he went out to New York and, you know, he sucked it up and he made it work. For example, Jimmy Fallon. That's a random example, but you know, if you go out there and you have the balls, then you're beating some guy that doesn't, and vice versa. So yeah, one other thing about having confidence is that you kind of want to have some motivation, and making decisions will give you motivation. What the heck do I mean? So when I booked this trip, it was kind of back in January, and when I booked this trip in January, I booked my flights, I had no Airbnb, and I had about $1,000 in my bank account. Except obviously I can't go to London with $1,000. That city's super expensive. You know, just on food in 2 weeks, I probably spent, you know, $1,000, which is kind of crazy. Obviously I made this trip work out. And how did I do it? Well, because I knew that I had to go to London, I had to make things work out. I can't cancel on my friends that I told I'd see in London. You know, I already booked these flights. I don't want to lose that money. And so I Hail Married my $1,000 into Facebook ads. I was fully broke, but then I signed a lot of clients. And so that ended up working pretty well. But I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have this London trip of impending doom upon me. And so what I'm saying is you just got to make some decisions that are going to force you to make money or whatever that might be. For example, I'm leasing a car soon, which if you want to know more about that, watch my vlog that's coming out in a few days. But yeah, I want to lease a car soon, and that's going to be another payment on business, which means I have to make more money. You guys get what I'm saying. Honestly, after my week 1 in London, I thought that I would be totally broke after this trip. But because, you know, I had the balls to make some big decisions, make some adjustments, let the market speak to me, I ended up with $7,000 of revenue plus profit on top. All that in the span of 2 weeks. Let's talk about the last point. This is gonna be a quick one. So I'm not talking about having a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I'm not talking about your friends. I'm talking about your clients. Your relationships with your clients matter, unless you're perfect. So what do I mean by this? If you're perfect, if you do all of your work exactly how you said you would, and it's perfect and you never make a mistake, then so be it. Your relationships don't matter. You could be a douche, you know, you could be the most boring average guy and your clients might stay with you. But you're not perfect because nobody's perfect. You know, it's just never gonna be perfect with your clients. Let me tell you something. Let me drop some heat, all right? An imperfect business that has good relationships with their clients are gonna keep more clients than a perfect business with bad client relationships. Let me repeat that again. So a guy that's imperfect but has good relationships with their clients is gonna keep more clients and get more grace than a guy that does perfect work but has average or bad relationships with their clients. A lot of average people will look at business owners and think, you know, they're business owners, they're super rich, they're whatever. That's not true. A business owner is a person too, and you're working people to people. People bond with people. And so be nice, don't burn your bridges, you know, over deliver on the work, do the extra step, make that extra whatever, so that when you make a mistake, it doesn't bite your butt. I will drop a video talking about how to be charismatic with your clients and have these good client relationships eventually, but I have a client, which name I can't say because of our contract. We, you know, had our phone call, we had our meeting, whatever, I onboarded them, and then we had our first shoot. How did this first shoot go? Well, I thought it went okay, but then I was cooking up my dinner after the shoot and I got a call from this client and I'm like, oh, hey, how are you doing? How's your evening? And they're crying. And I'm like, oh man, why are you crying? And they say, well, basically that shoot was garbage. I wasn't feeling it. I feel like I was so unconfident. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like my hair, whatever. And I could have been like, well, you paid the money. Contractually, you actually owe me more money. So if you could just pay that up and then we can cancel this project. I could have said that. Instead, I didn't do that. I reassured them. I said, it's totally fine. We can get this rescheduled. You know, we can make adjustments to make sure that you're a little bit more comfortable, whatever that might be. And that ended up going super well. But even funnier is that when I showed up for our second shoot, I was already 5 minutes late. And then I opened my camera, I get us all set up. We did our planning, pop open my camera, you know, I stabilize it on my gimbal, bang, turn it on, battery's dead. In fact, battery was not dead. I left it at home and that client was about a 25-minute drive from my house. But because, you know, I'd been, I don't want to say a great guy, but I had a good relationship with this client They gave me the grace. They're like, oh, totally don't worry about it. Go home, grab that, come back, we'll shoot. It's fine, no sweat, no worries. Now, this client is one of the clients that I have the best relationship with. They've invited me to a trip, on a trip to the mountains. They're just super nice to me. And it kind of feels like it's for no reason. But when I think back, there is a reason, right? And so have some grace with your clients, do the extra step, whatever. It's very, very important. So yeah, those are all of my tips for today. I have one last story. This one is actually gonna be quick, but I used to be a debate kid when I was in junior high, when I was like 12. And obviously I was a debate nerd, but I was very good at public speaking. I was actually a very good debater. But my public speaking skills is something I've lost in the past few years. As you know, I've said the word a lot. If you've ever been on a sales call with me, I say the word a lot. I'm not the smoothest speaker as I was before. And so I'm trying to get it back. So drop some comments, give me some feedback, you know, tell me, oh, you should improve this, you should improve that, this was good, that was bad. Do it, be blunt, don't sugarcoat things. I'm here to improve, I'm here to help you guys. So say whatever you want and help me out. That's it for today. Follow my Instagram, follow my TikTok, follow my, subscribe to my YouTube, like this video, turn on your notifications, go like all my posts. Thanks for tuning in. This is my first tips and insights video. So yeah, I'll have one coming every single week, hopefully. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Oh.